Hi everyone and welcome to the RC Retro channel. In this episode we're going to be building the Kyosho Javelin, which was re-released in 2018 and is part of Kyosho's Legendary series. Now, moving into 2021, I'm hoping that they continue their Legendary series and come out with something pretty spectacular. And I feel like they need to, because after seeing what Tamiya just put out for their 2021 lineup, I feel like Kyosho has to come on pretty strong with something awesome. And what could be more awesome than having a re-release of the Optima Mid, right? So hopefully we get that in 2021. Now, as far as the Javelin, this was originally released in 1986, which was a very important year for us New York sports fans, as it was the last time the New York Mets won a World Series. I had to throw that in because me being from New York. And of course, 32 years later, the Javelin was re-released, and of course, 30 some odd plus years later, the Mets still haven't won a World Series. So, well, anyways, it's a four-wheel drive buggy and had a chain link drive system. Now, what's cool for the re-release is that they give you that option of using a chain or an actual belt. So we'll talk more about that later on in the video. But as many of you know, my new inbox builds are primarily time-lapse videos. And I thought I would just change it up a little bit for this one because, I don't know, I really want to enjoy this. And I got to be very honest and transparent with all of you. Sitting here with a camera in front of me, a GoPro to be specific, with a little tiny screen, and looking at that little tiny screen and building it isn't very enjoyable. Actually, it's kind of tedious and a little frustrating. And I know many of you love to build to escape, the stresses of reality and just kind of like relax. And that's what I really want to do this time around. So it's going to be a little different. I'm not going to do a time-lapse build. I'm going to just build, a few parts or a few sections of the car off camera. And then I'm just going to cut back and just talk about what I built so far, and specifically talk about the subtle differences between the original and the re-release and how Kyosho upgraded certain parts. So that's what I'm going to do for this video. I'm sure you're still going to love it. I'm going to love it because look how beautiful this buggy is. I really love, the whole cage on here. Orange is pretty cool, but if you haven't noticed it yet, I'm going to go with the whole minty green, the peppermint colored roll cage over here, and I got the wing as well. And what's even cooler is they gave me a whole other set of stickers, so now I have two. Yes, I already opened this up and pulled the instructions out because I don't know about you guys, but before I build any of my cars, I actually sit down and go through the entire manual and kind of read it. Try to anticipate any issues I might have. All right, so with that, enjoy the video. Nope, this is not going to be an unboxing video, so don't worry, we're not going to waste too much time here. But before I get started with the build, I just wanted to share the contents because I am all about presentation, and I have to say, Kyosho re-release kits, look pretty damn nice when you open up the box. I mean, they don't have as many re-released RCs as Tamiya does. Tamiya has way more. And for me, the only Tamiya kits that I opened up that kind of blew me away were the Egress and the Avante. All the other Tamiya kits are basically just, parts are all put into boxes and it's nicely sectioned off, but that's about it. Whereas every kit that I've opened up and built from a Kyosho re-release is very nicely laid out with the blistering and, just gives it a feel of being a little bit more quality or higher end. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents. So, all right, well, no more wasting time. Let's get to the build. Well, I just finished bag A, which is steps 1 through 4, and what you are putting together is the front and rear diffs, the rear gearbox, and deciding if you're going to go with the belt or the chain. Now, the original Javelin in 1986 came with the chain, and then soon after, Kyosho offered the belt, which you could switch to. What's great about this kit is that they give you both to choose from. Now, depending on which you choose, your differential is going to look a little bit different. For example, here I have the front diff, which has the pulley system on it. And if you go with the chain, you would use the chain drive sprockets. So your diff's going to look a little bit different but in essence, it's going to work the same. Just one is for a chain and one is for a belt. So that's pretty cool. All right, back to the build. Oh yeah, before I forget, something else I wanted to share is that the front and the rear diffs are gear differentials. And I'm so used to building Tamiyas, but for Tamiya's gear differentials, they usually have that little cross pin where you put the 4 bevel gears on. These, the front and the rear, only have 2 bevel gears. I don't really think it makes that much of a difference, but I just found that little design feature that was different kind of interesting, and just thought I'd just share that with all of you. So far, so good. We have no issues, and we just completed bag B. That's steps number 5, 6, 7, and 8, and you are completing the front bulkhead, or at least that's what they call it. I call it a gearbox. The drive guides, which is where the belts feed through on the top and the bottom. You're putting together the motor plates and the motor guard, and then in step number 8, which is where I'm not going to say it gets challenging. It's just a lot going on. Is where you're putting all this on. So you're putting these rails on, the 2 plates on either side, the motor guard, the wing mounts, and there's just a lot of screws. I mean, there's like, I think 4 or 5 different types of screws, and it's all in one step. So it's really got to pay attention. And I like to just take a pencil and kind of like mark them off in the diagram just to make sure that I'm using the right screw and I didn't miss any. So. But other than that, everything is going together smoothly. I'm really enjoying it. And now we're going to be moving on to bag C, which is step number 9. All right, so just switching up the camera angle. Finished bag C and bag D. Sorry, I did not check in after bag C, but I was just, flowing, having a really good time, enjoying myself, and didn't want to stop, so I just went all the way through to bag D. Bag C and D, you're building a good portion of the buggy, starting with the slipper clutch. This is where you would adjust it. The original 86 Javelin did not come with a slipper clutch, but it's nice that with Kyosho's re-releases, they're including that feature. In the front end over here, you're putting the steering together. These metal side plates over here, the whole front end suspension, tie rods, which I can't stand and are probably my least favorite thing in this hobby to do. Also, I was reading somewhere online, and I don't know how true this is. Somebody mentioned that the original 86 Javelin came with plastic hubs and not metal. But of course, I went on to Kyosho America's website to look at all the features, and they make no reference to that. So I don't know how true that is. So if you had an original Javelin and it did have plastic, share your knowledge. Drop me a comment below just to verify that. Or if it didn't have the plastic and it indeed came with metal, just either which way, leave me a comment. I just love to know for a fact. Also, the original Javelin's wing attached right to the piping or the roll cage, whereas the re-release, the wing mounts attached to the chassis. Also, I was reading that these wing mounts can be used on the Optima as well to make the wing sit a little bit higher. But, I just want to comment and say that I'm really impressed with the quality of this kit. And I'm pretty impressed with all of Kyosho's re-releases. They're pretty, solid and heavy. The parts are definitely, I want to say, great quality materials. And as far as the Javelin, everything is going together very, very smoothly. It's not finicky. I'm not struggling to make parts fit. It's, very easy to put together. And what's really nice is the screws are all countersunk. So if you see over here, they're flush with the shock towers in the front and the rear, and it's like that throughout the whole car, which gives it a very nice finished look with no screw heads protruding. And it just, it's very streamlined, and it's, finishes off the buggy nicely. And, I'm going to move on with the build right now. And I don't really foresee this taking me too much longer to finish, especially when there's no body to paint up. So I'm happy about that. Once we get this done and fitted with electronics, you just put the roll cage on and we're good to go. So that's definitely a plus with this kit. So and I do like the look of the roll cage. So all right. Well, I really hopped ahead this time. I'm sorry. I'm just so addicted to this build and I'm really enjoying myself that I didn't want to stop. But a good portion of the buggy is done. Well, actually, most of the buggy is done. So let me just tell you what I added on here. Front bumper is modeled after the original 86 Javelin's bumper, but they also include a smaller bumper, which they say is more suitable for racing. However, I race. I mean, I'm not very good at it, but I can tell you I'm going to need the big bumper. So we're going to leave this on for right now. Got the FRP top chassis plate in. Also started to fit the electronics. I'm using a radio link receiver and remote, and I'm slowly starting to switch all my cars over to the radio link. Got the Red Label Amazon special servo in here. They're like, I think you can get 2 of them for like $30 on Amazon, and you know, they're pretty decent. I have no complaints. They work for me, and I use them in a number of my RCs, so I'm gonna stick with that for right now. Of course, my favorite Hobby Wing 1060 ESC is mounted upside down on the bottom of the FRP plate, and everything is nice and tucked away inside here as far as the wiring. Built the shocks. I love these metallic red shocks. They're modeled after the original ones that were on the 86 Javelin. They're a little bit bigger. The ones on the original Javelin were 10mm cylinders. These are 12mm cylinders. And if you are going to buy one of these and put the shocks together, just remember they are bottom loading shocks. They're not like the Tamiya ones that screw off on the top. These screw at the bottom of the cylinder, and that's where you put the oil in and you screw it. So very cool. Like them a lot. And then, you know, I just want to share, when I was building the shocks and I busted out the oil, I was like, 7.5 weight? Is that correct? And so I had to look back at my Kyosho Ultima re-release video, and sure enough, it was the same weight oil. So I'm not going to be able to get out to the track anytime soon to test this because there's like a blizzard right now outside. So eventually in the spring, we'll see how it goes. And if I don't like it, I could always just, you know, use different shock oil and mess around with that. But for right now, we're just going to do the drop test. Just eyeball it, see how it goes. Get the wheels and tires on, throw a battery in here and just drop it and take it from there. All right. As far as the motor, I'm going to get this in now. I like to buy these just black can, cheapy brushed motors from eBay. They come in a variety of turns. I like to get the 19, 21, 25, and that's it, those 3 turns. And I'll decide if I'm going to drop down or go up. But for right now, I'm just going to go with the 21 turn brush motor in there. And not much more to do. Going to get the roll cage put together, the peppermint green roll cage. And then there's a driver figure to paint up. But I'll do that another time when the weather's a little bit nicer and I can go outside and spray. And that's more or less it. So not much more to do on here. Javelin is done and it looks awesome. And based on the drop test, the suspension with that shock weight oil, it's not so bad. But I'm not going to know for sure until I get it out on the track, and that's not going to be for like another month or 2 until the weather gets a little bit warmer. But until then, I'm just going to go with it. Now, I just want to clarify, earlier in the video, I said I also use 7.5 shock weight oil for the Ultima re-release build, and that was a mistake. I went back into the manual. I actually used 17.5. That's what came with that kit. So I called up Harry, who owns a Turbo Optima re-release, and I asked him what he used in that kit, or at least what that kit came with. He said it also came with the 7.5 shock weight oil, and you know, he was a little taken back on that, but he just went with it, and it works. So I'm just going to go with it also and see how it is out there on the track. So we shall see. As for the roll cage, that goes together rather easy, and I opted for the peppermint green, which I love. It definitely just has a little bit more of that vintage feel to it with that color, at least I think so, and it really complements the metal on here and the wheels as well. Now, before I get to the wheels and tires, the roll cage saves me, you know, having to paint the body, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. I mean, the battery still could slide in and out, but in order for you to secure the battery, you need to use these Velcro straps, but it's really hard to get the Velcro straps on and tighten them in between these two little areas of the roll cage right here. So the battery is kind of like a little wobbly and slidey in there still. So, and then I had to readjust the little on switch for the ESC over here because when I put the roll cage on, it was like pushing down on that little switch. But altogether, it's really easy. It just pops off on each side and comes off so you can get the battery in and out. And I really like it. And plus, it makes cleanup a little bit easier as well after, you know, it gets all dirty. So, as for the wheels and tires, well, for the re-release, the wheels are one-piece wheels as opposed to, I believe, three-piece wheels with the original Javelin back in '86. I really like the chrome on here. It's more of a shinier chrome around the outside, and on the inside it has more of a satin finish. I like that. And the wheels are a little bit more, at least I say they have a little bit more higher grip than the originals, plus they added more spikes to the tires as well. Now, I'm not 100% sold on the tires and the performance on the track. Again, I had to get it out there and see. But just in case, I went out and I bought these tires that the Turbo Optima uses, the block tires, which are very similar to the Proline blockade tires, and also the same exact tires on the back of the Ultima, the rear tires of the Ultima. So I just got a set of those just in case. I don't like the way these are on the track, so we shall see. All in due time. All right, but altogether, I'm very pleased with this kit. It's definitely a high quality kit. Had a lot of fun putting it together. Took me 3 days to get it all together. I work in, you know, little spots here and there, and for the most part, I'm really looking forward to getting this out there. I think it's going to be really competitive, and it's going to be in my lineup of four-wheel drive vehicles for our race night videos. So I'm kind of hoping that I can have a lot of success with this out there. All right, well, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video of the Javelin, and hit the like button, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I can use your support, and for the rest of you, I will see you all in my next video. Take care.
Let's go, let's go.